Hey, what's up, my friend? So, in today's episode, we have May Ee, who runs Bob the Baker Boy. This is the lady who went from baking cakes at home and turning this hobby of hers into a multiple seven-figure business. After my conversation with May, I can't help but feel inspired by what she has achieved, and all at a tender age of, well, I can't tell you her age, right? But she's young, okay? So in today's episode, we talk about how Bob the Baker Boy got started, the challenges and the struggles of a home-based business. We also talk about how she got her first few customers as a home-based business. Then May shared how she transited from a home-based business to getting her first factory space and employees. She also shared the systems, the tools that she used to scale her business to seven figures and beyond. And finally, she talked about how she's planning to expand the business further. So if a dose of inspiration is what you need, then today's episode will be a good fit for you. So let's get to it. Welcome to Rainer Teo's show. This is the podcast where I interview entrepreneurs and mavericks who get shit done. Okay, welcome May to the show. Good to have you today. So to kick things off, I just want to say that you have definitely inspired me, right? As I know you for the last few years from someone who have difficulty saying no to people. Saying yes, always saying yes to people, and right now you have actually the courage, right, to actually learn how to say no. I thought that transition that I've seen and witnessed in you, I thought it's very inspiring because I actually get to see your growth as a person. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
You're most welcome. So to kick things off, right, I'd like to hear maybe how was your growing up years like as a child? Maybe we can break it down to maybe your teenage years between 13 to 18 years old.
Okay, so I grew up in a household where childhood was considered relatively smooth. I was a very hardworking student in class. I'm the type that even before teacher finish going through the lecture, I finished the tutorials. I'm that very hardworking, very driven kind of person. And from that time, I already knew that I was a go-getter. Yeah, if today I said I want to achieve a goal, I will make sure I achieve it. Family-wise, I have two very loving parents, one sister, very tight-knitted childhood, very tight-knitted family.
So when you say that since your teenage years you were very goal-driven, was there something that happened that made you think and act in this manner, or was it since you're young, 5-6 years old, you already like that?
Okay, so I think it's a bit of a personality and character, right? Where I feel that, like, when since young, I already have this side of me. But I remember a few incidents when I was a child that I wonder if that made me even more goal-oriented, that I need to achieve. So I remember when I had my first exam, it was in primary school, my Chinese paper. Yeah, I got 100 marks. Yeah, and then I told myself, actually, so this is the benchmark. Every time I need to get 100 marks in life. Yeah, and I cannot be mediocre. And in sports, right, last time I had to run the 100-meter race. Then I remember when I ran the 100-meter race, right, I came in first. And I didn't come in like a nose more than someone else. It was like one whole stretch more than someone else. Well, and that feeling of victory and that feeling of actually it's so good to feel like you're winning in life, right? That made me like sorry for the cough. Yeah, that made me feel like, actually in life, right, I want to I need to achieve. I need to constantly be the cream of the crop. Yeah, I had that in me.
I must say, I'm surprised to hear the 100 meter sprint, you're the first. I mean, for those who don't know, May isn't exactly the tallest person I've ever come across, but yeah, very pleasantly surprised to hear that.
Hey, wait, you need to know me when I'm 7 years old, because when I'm 7 years old, right, I was considered a King Kong in the class.
Okay.
Yeah, so like now I'm 155 meters, right? Short for women's standard. But when I was in primary 6, I was 1.5. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I see where you're coming from now.
yeah.
Okay. So those are definitely some of the more formative moments that you had when you were younger. The taste of a sweet victory early at the start, and then that kind of like spill over later to your secondary school years.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
And I think there's one more thing, which is I also grew up in a family when, like, they were constantly, if they see that you are achieving, they constantly put you on the spotlight. Yeah, and then it made me feel like, oh, okay, so to be loved and to be liked, right, then you need to do well.
Okay. And what
So
if
that was very much in me lah.
what if, let's say you didn't do well for a particular subject, it didn't meet your expectations, how would the reaction then be different?
Okay, let me recall. I remember I had my first taste of failure in secondary school. I've always come in like first to third in the class, maybe fourth. You know, I'm that teacher's pet. The kind that, like, you know, that everyone hates lah. Every time after class, I'll rush to the teacher's table and then I ask her questions. You know, that kind of person. So I remember in Sec 3 or Sec 4, I can't remember. I failed my first A maths test. Yeah, of course I feel like shit lah. I feel very lousy. But at the same time, I didn't feel as shitty because a lot of people fail also.
Right.
Yeah, so I felt normal. But at the same time, I told myself this will be my first failure, but also the last failure in A math. Yeah, correct. But sadly, not in life lah, right? Always failing.
So was that the last time you failed A math, and after which your A math got better?
Yes, because that was in Sec 3. So, yeah, sorry. That was in Sec 3. So, I studied A math only until Sec 4.
Oh, okay.
And that's the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you recall what's like maybe the most mischievous thing that you did when you were younger?
Let me think. The most mischievous thing. Okay, I didn't have a lot of chances in life to be mischievous because I grew up in a family where my parents are relatively protective. Yeah, they care a lot about my safety, which is normal. Now as I grow up, I got to understand. But, you know, the norm in primary and secondary school is your parents will leave you to go and take bus, you know. You spend time with your friends after school. But I never had that. My parents would always pick me up to and from school. All the way until university.
Till today.
Yeah, actually until today.
I mean, not all the time, but yeah, I do see that sometimes.
Yeah, correct. So like, yeah, but I get where my parents are coming from. They are just being protective lor. So mischievous, I didn't have a lot of chance to be mischievous. But I remember in Sec 3, I started dressing up. I started wearing earrings. I started wearing dress. And my mom saw that as a sign of rebellion.
Oh.
Like, oh my God, why is my daughter starting to dress up? When last time I only teach her to wear t-shirt and jeans and short hair. But now she's wearing dresses. She is going out a little bit more. She wants to colour her hair. Yeah, so that was her idea of rebellion.
Oh.
Yeah, correct.
So all along your mom is someone who, from what I'm hearing, wants to dress you up like a tomboy, t-shirt, jeans. She doesn't want you to dress in maybe a feminine, a more female-like attire.
Yeah, interesting now that you say it, right? Because my mom's side, the family is, the way they see women is, oh, okay, you need to be conservative. You need to be, you need to look plain. You know, you cannot wear too revealing. Yeah, you cannot dress up so much. And even so, my mom and her family, that side. Sorry. Even my mom, until now, she don't wear makeup. She's always in short hair. And she'll always wear the same thing every day.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, correct. So that is her idea of, hey, you need to look prim, proper, plain, and be a good girl.
Okay.
Yeah, that's their idea of a good girl. Yeah. Yeah, but slowly, like, I didn't conform to that lah.
Yes.
Right? And then she will always say that I'm very vain, very hiao. Yeah, so now when I grow up and I become a little bit more aware, I tell her that's not being vain or hiao lah. That's everybody's idea of what kind of woman they want to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think most girls that I come across, it's just like you, right? I think your mom category will be more of the rare type of Pokemon. Rarely you encounter that. You actually the normal kind. Many times have changed, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say after secondary school, JC or poly, you root for you? Which
Poly.
Poly. Why poly?
Oh, okay. So that's also another interesting story, right? Because I grew up as a fat kid.
Okay, just put things in perspective. What is your definition of fat? Because different people got different definitions. So you're 155, I guess, around that point in time. What's your weight at that point in time?
Sorry. So, fat kid, I cannot remember my weight already, but maybe when I was 130 something meters, 1.3 meters or so, I was 30 plus kg.
Okay.
That was when I was like, maybe 7, 8, 9 years old.
Okay.
So that's considered chubby ma. Yeah, but as I grew up, then I became a bit more watchful about what I eat. But there are still people in my secondary school that say I'm chubby, but I'm not really. So that time I was like maybe 153, but I am maybe 40 something kg, which I feel is normal. Now I look back at my picture, I don't think I'm fat lah, But there are people who will still make comments about my appearance, and also maybe because I think I'm generally more sensitive to such criticism. Yeah, so and because of that, right, I didn't dare to take photos when I was all the way up to 16 years old. Is it 16? Yeah, 16. And I also didn't eat in front of people. Yeah, so last time I had CCA, NCC. So all the way until 7 p.m. From 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. I will not eat in class.
Right. Okay.
Because I was scared that people will judge me. And the funny thing is like that, the more you are scared people will judge you, the more when you eat in front of people in the canteen, right? People will be like, "Wow, me, today you eat wow, it's like a rare day that you got eat." Then every time people say that, I don't know why I get so affected, so I don't eat at all. Yeah, but and so right, and also because I have this very goal-driven side of me, right? I told myself in Sec 3 that when I grow up, I'm gonna be an accountant. So for me to be an accountant, I'm going to study accounting in poly. I'm going to get very, very good grades so that I'll go to uni and I'll study another 3 years of accounting so that I'll come out and then I'll go be a management trainee, some accounting firm or audit firm. Yeah, and that was the path that I've charted for myself at 15 years old in my head.
Okay.
Yeah, so at that time, I really had a goal. The goal was to score straight A's by Sec 4 and then go into poly. Although you don't need straight A's to go into poly. But at that time, I think it's my mindset of I want to be the cream of the crop in poly. You know, that kind of mindset? Yeah, which is why I said like I finished my tutorials even before my lecture. It was that side of me lor. Yeah, the very competitive side. Yeah.
Okay, so clearly you're not an accountant today. That's, fortunately. So anyway, so from poly, right, I guess after which you will probably, go to the working world, get your first job. So maybe you can, share a little bit of, how's your first foray into the working world?
Okay. So in poly, studied very hard. I told myself my goal is uni. Yeah. My first taste of entrepreneurship is selling headphones. Selling headphones. Don't know if I shared this story with you before.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I sold headphones and then I found like circles of influence around me. And I told them, hey, okay, I have this headphone. And then they will just buy. Then when I found the right people to share the message with, right, then they will find a lot of other people to buy headphones from me. Yeah, so then I will go and, get the stocks from the distributor and then I'll go and deliver to them. So I was essentially a trader, earning the markup in between. And I will go and do deliveries. And my mama has always been very supportive in that. So she'll fetch me to go and deliver the headphones. So I think I made maybe probably $1,000 from that stint lah. Don't know why I stopped doing, but it gave me like the first taste of, today the amount of effort you put in will commensurate with the result. So I want to be in that bucket of to be able to have control over where you are lor. Yeah, so I told myself, okay, maybe my strength is in sales, or maybe my strength is in just that jurisdiction lah. Yeah, so after that, I did a poly internship. poly internship in an accounting firm. It was a 8 to 5 job, but I hated it. I learned soft skills over there, how to interact with people, how to say good morning in the lift and make like conversations. But that's about it. I didn't like how I felt like I didn't have control over my time. So those few experiences just made me realize, what I like, what I don't like. And then the next stint was I was part of this MLM in makeup. Very interestingly, so like they will gather people to learn makeup from you, and then you will exhibit the makeup products, and then you get them to try on the spot. But try on the spot, I just do half of the face. So then you can see the difference, all right? Then you will buy, what?
Yeah.
So that was the goal. Yeah, and at that time, right, why I stopped buying, why I stopped being the makeup artist was I realized that I was a salesperson more than a makeup artist.
How do you realize that?
How did I realize that? Firstly, the goal here is to sell as much products as possible. How good you are at the makeup, not very relevant. Because the people who were in the organization generally, they are not people who are very, very good at makeup. They just need to be able to sell. And then, today if you want to buy a product, you are the middle person, same thing. You are essentially that person's first customer. So it's kind of like a pyramid structure where they sell to you at 40% discount, and then you sell to someone at 100% sales price. So you earn that 40% commission. So when I understood that business model, then I asked myself, also, do I want to be part of that business model? I didn't like it. So that was another exploration of, I realized what I like and what I didn't like. So then I went to continue to explore one more thing, which is, so if I didn't like being a salesperson, right, then maybe I wanted to be a makeup artist. Yeah, so I went to be an apprentice under a celebrity makeup artist. Yeah, and at that time, really very long hours. So I chartered to want to be an accountant in university, correct? But then that didn't happen. I didn't study in university because I think I got burnt out.
Oh, you didn't? Did you enroll in uni or you didn't?
I did.
But you didn't complete your uni?
I did. I complete my uni also, but then I half-assed it.
Okay.
I didn't go to school.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't study. Yeah, so it was like...
And still graduate?
I still graduate.
Amazing. Okay.
Yeah, so the times where I was supposed to go to lecture, I was supposed to go to tutorial, I was busy working as a makeup artist. Because the hours are like 12 hours, 16 hours type. But what are you doing? You are literally sitting there waiting for people to finish their shoot so that you can do a little bit of touch up for them. But for me, right, as you know me as a person, I'm someone that values my time a lot. Yeah, and to me, to sit to wait for someone for a few hours after their shoot then so that they can exit out and then I do a little bit of touch up for them, to me I feel that it's very, very, very bad waste of time. So at that time I think I really understood the concept of the value of time. Yeah, but then I realized that didn't work out for me. Yeah, and because I feel that makeup artist is a occupation where it's so service driven, where it's your pair of hands, and that pair of hands and artistry, that experience that you accumulate over the years, right, is very difficult to pass on to the next person. Like, how do you systemize and structure? Very hard, because everyone have different eyes, different nose, different mouth. It's not something that can templatize. Yeah, and that didn't work out for me lah. So yeah, I also finished that stint. Then I went back to uni with my second class honours, right? So, but second class honours is so not me, right? Because like I tell myself, like if I really cared about it, I wouldn't accept anything less than the first class, ma. But I just held that second class honours in my hands. Then I asked myself, oh my god, shit, man. Okay, so after everything that I've experienced, I've veered away from the path that I planned out for myself. So that was also that pit stop that told me like, hey, actually, what you planned for, what you think you know in your life, actually it might not turn out to whatever you planned for lah. Yeah, so then I look at the second class honours, my eyes, and I ask myself, wow, shit, then where am I going now? So at that point of time, I think I thought about a few careers in my mind lah. Number one is to be a freelance tuition teacher, because at that time I was also teaching part-time tuition. And there were students that told me that they liked me as a tuition teacher lah, right? I said, oh, maybe I should be a tuition teacher. Or number 2, maybe I should go and really become an MOE teacher and go to NIE. You're laughing. The third one, because like I had a flair in speaking to people, right? I asked myself, maybe I should go and become a relationship manager. Yeah.
What? So you mean in the banking sector?
Yes.
Okay.
Relationship manager. And the fourth one is, okay, maybe I should not try and then just go to an accounting firm and be an accountant and go back to my plan lah. Yeah, but that time, right, I cannot go to the big 4 already.
Second class cannot go big 4. Was it upper or lower?
Actually, that time, very competitive.
Okay.
Big 4, there are a lot of people that are very qualified. And then they have those kind of logical reasoning tests. They got a lot of tests before you get into the company. And of all the tests that they gave me, I failed all of them. And I think, I don't know whether it's because I never put heart into completing the tests. I was rushing through them, like, because I was so like efficiency driven, right? I tell myself, okay, faster finish. But then I failed all of them. None of them asked me for an interview. Okay. None of them. So then it made me feel like, okay, I think I'm not qualified. That's why they never asked me for an interview. Yeah. So, but I scored an interview and then a position at an accounting firm that offered to pay me 2.2k, I think. Yeah, but I didn't take it up. So don't know why I didn't take it up. Yeah, that's that.
So after all this different experiences that you had in the working world, so how did that then pivot, right, quote unquote, pivot to baking, right? And before finally, setting up your own business that you have today. So how did that transition happen?
Okay, so like so at that point in time when sorry, at that point in time where I had different options in front of me, I was also like a baking and cooking enthusiast at home. The kid at home, that little sister at home that loves to cook and bake. Yeah, and I was already like experimenting at home. My favorite pastime was to look up online recipes and then try to recreate. And then usually the food tastes like shit, but then you still serve it to your parents, So that was that lah. Then I told yeah, they did.
Okay.
I'll tell you more juicy stories later. Okay, but so in the end, I told myself, wow, of all the options that are in front of me, right, 2.2k and 2.2k at the what you call that? An accounting firm, or be a relationship manager, and of everything, I told myself, I picked the lowest paying one, which is okay. I think maybe I will go be a baking junior at a cake shop that pays me 1.5k a month.
And the reason for that is?
The reason for that is because I want to choose to do what I love. So I chose doing what I love rather than what I feel will pay me most at that time. I also didn't know why it drove me to whatever. But I think, looking back, I think we humans, right, ultimately we are driven by fulfillment and happiness rather than money. So I remember very vividly, I was in the car, then I told my parents, I said, hey, actually I want to go to a baking school. Not baking school, yeah, they teach classes, they bake. So I said, I want to go over there and I want to be a baking junior. And at the time, I was quite clear about my goal. I said, okay, I will go there. I'll go and learn. I'll go and bake for 1 year. After 1 year, then maybe I'll come out and set up on my own. That was that plan, as usual, right? I have that plan in mind. Then I think that, 1 year, like a lot of time to learn like that. So my parents said, do whatever you want. We will support you. Throughout my entire journey, I think there was never once they tell me, don't do. They will always say, go do. We support you. And that is, I feel like, and my parents say that it constantly like affirms me to give me that space to make my own decisions, like so that I can bring out the best in myself. Imagine if my parents told me, hey, no, go be an accountant because we paid so much for your education, but they didn't. They said, okay, you want to go and be a baker at 1.5k even though I paid like don't know how many tens of thousands for your education, right? Go. Like until now, I really very grateful and thank them for that. So I work at that baking that company, right? So I was really apprentice, really learning to bake from scratch, frost the cake from scratch, and all of that. So the intention was really learn. Yeah, there was that.
So between two options, learning from like a class or learning kind of like on the job, you went with the on-the-job approach, get paid and learn at the same time.
Yes, correct. Yeah, so my point of view at that time was, you reminded me, was, I can earn 1.5k and still be able to learn. But let's say if I were to be, let's say I were to go and attend their class, each class is $100 over, then I won't have money, right? So at that point of time, right, I also like, go and look at the pictures and I say, the pictures look very nice, and then I want to learn how to make this recipe. Yeah, so then I said, okay, if I want to go and learn how to make this recipe, won't it make more sense for me to go and work in the company, and go and learn and then go and practice every day so that I can hone my skills? So I remember at that point of time when I was working, let's say 40 over hours a week in that bakery, right? At the side, I was also baking from home, not to sell. It was to hone my skills. So like, for example, I learned how to make macarons over there. I'll go back and I'll go and practice how to make macarons. And that was also the period of time where during my off days, I will go to, and after work, I will go online, I'll go and research on the science of baking. So really purely self-taught. I was not from the cordon bleu or anything. What is the ratio of eggs to flour, to sugar, to baking powder, to liquids? Means water or milk. And that until now form a very solid foundation for me whenever we think about recipes in our kitchen.
Because that so-called formula has to hold true for the cake to turn out okay.
Yes, correct. The protein percentage of your flour, the absorption of water in the recipe, all of that matters. The baking time. So I was really playing around with all those different components, because in a cake, actually it's just those few ingredients. No matter how nice that cake shop is, ultimately cake is cake made out of those few ingredients, but it's ultimately how the different ingredients interact with each other in the different mixing steps. So it's all about science. So I think I took at least 100 tries for the first recipe to come out.
What's the first recipe?
The first recipe, so I wanted to make the best chocolate cake.
Okay, so you learned this from the current cake shop that you're working, and then you're trying to improve on the recipe, or this is something from scratch?
Oh, okay. So I didn't like the recipes from that cake shop.
Okay, those are recipes that they're actually selling to the people,
Correct.
But you didn't like it.
Yes.
Okay.
So at that time when I knew nothing about baking, I went in thinking I want to learn because the pictures look nice.
Yes.
But then when I worked there, then I realized, actually I don't like the taste.
Okay.
Not that the taste is not good. With all credit, they're doing very well now. Okay. It's just that it was not the cake shop that I envisioned that I would be the cakes that I would be selling.
Okay, because cake, it can be subjective, and just not to your liking doesn't mean that other people might not like it, but
Correct.
just not to your liking.
Correct.
Okay.
So for me, I wanted a cake. My idea of a perfect chocolate cake is something that's very geared towards the Asian palate.
What is
soft,
the Asian palate? Okay.
moist, fudgy, fragrant, less sweet. And all these are very important. It cannot be the dense, kind, or very sweet, eat very, very gelap, like very, like after you eat a few mouths, you don't want to eat anymore. Yeah.
So how did that first recipe, or rather, how did the recipe then became the end product? Because like you say, 100 tries, right? You want it to be fudgy, soft. Clearly the first time it's not going to work out. So how do you make it happen that, okay, this is the final taste, right? We'll go with this. So what's the entire process like?
Okay. So, I remember every time when I come back from work, then today I'm going to do test 1. Today I'm going to do test 2, test 3. So each test, right, I'll change different things. And every time when it fails, it comes out, right, I'll be like, I remember maybe on the 60th try or something, I'm like lying at my balcony, hugging my head and crying and tell myself, why is this so difficult? Like, hey, how come I still cannot get it right? Even after 60 tries, right, I still don't get it right, And how does the journey look like? Every time after I bake a cake, right, then sometimes I'll go and buy awfully chocolate cake. I'll go and buy Lana cakes, all the cakes that, generally Singaporeans like. And I also like, I'll put it next to my cake, and then I'll tell my parents, okay, so now you test which one is the cake that I baked. yeah, really. And then my parents always humor me lah. They obviously know which one is which, right? Then they'll say, oh, this is the nicest. So now looking back, actually they're really very, very supportive, and but at the same time they will also tell me the truth. They won't like hide and say, oh no, actually you are very good, you did the best. No, they will still tell me, hey, there's something that you can improve on, but this is good, and it also helps that my sister, she has a very, very sharp taste bud for a good chocolate cake. And generally, her kind of taste bud is the kind that today, if she likes, right, the general audience in Singapore will like.
Ah, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, I think my sister is gifted in that sense. So, every time, like, when a cake comes out, I will let her try. I'll let her test. And if there's something that she keeps getting second servings from, I know that is the right chocolate cake recipe already. And that was how I derived that 100th try recipe, when my sister kept going back to the fridge
For that chocolate cake, you mean?
for the same chocolate cake.
So correct me if I'm wrong. So when you bake a chocolate cake, let's say I go online and look for a recipe, the ingredients are all the same, what, sugar, cream and stuff. So I guess you're not going to play much with the ingredients in terms of the different kind of ingredients you're using, right? You're probably going to adjust is the temperature, the amount of ingredients to use. That is pretty much what your 100 tries consists of.
And that's a lot of
permutation.
variations. So, sorry. Okay, so in that recipe, right, I can adjust the flour, the type of flour, the ratio of ingredients. And the ratio of ingredients, there's like 5 or 6. Do you want to add milk? Do you want to add water? Do you want to remove the milk altogether? Do you want to add this thickening agent? And then how is the cooking method going to be like? Because cooking method for all baking enthusiasts, we all know there is the chiffon method where you beat the egg whites. There is the creaming method where you put butter and sugar. There is the one bowl mix-in method where you put all the ingredients together and then hope that the cake come out tastes good. Or there is the cooked flour method. Cooked flour method meaning like you boil the butter, then later you throw in the flour so that you break up all the gluten and you make the cake soft. So I tried all of these methods, and then later slowly assess with my sis mouth.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I can imagine, because people in the digital marketing world, when they do A/B tests, you cannot test multiple things at once because then you do not know what led to what. So you got to test like one component bit by bit, one by one, so you know what causes what reaction. Is that the process that you follow as well?
Yeah, okay. So now that you say, right, the digital marketing way of split testing, I always feel is very structured. Yeah, but for me, at that time, I was about 23 years old, maybe 22 years old, right? I knew nothing about structure and systems. Yeah, and all I did was just try. Just try. Today cannot. Then tomorrow try another recipe. Tomorrow cannot. Try the next day again. So I didn't go and document down. Test 1. How is this cake like? Test 2. How is that cake like? So today, if anyone hearing this and you want to try, right, I highly recommend documenting down everything. By the time I was really doing everything like free flow. Like, oh, this doesn't taste good. Okay, I'm going to change another thing. Then try again. That doesn't taste good. Okay, try again. So there was no structural approach to R&D testing because I was doing everything like on my own brains and like my own free will. Not that someone taught me to.
Okay. But I must say, among all the flavors I've tried at your cake shop, I love the chocolate one.
Really?
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Honestly speaking, I love the chocolate one. Okay. So another question is curious. Online got so many chocolate cake recipes. What is it to stop someone from just copying that online, let's say a very highly rated chocolate cake recipe, then doing it at home and then realize, hey, the cake actually tastes pretty good? What are the odds of that actually happening? Or in reality, actually the recipe online is like that, but when you do it yourself, you realize there's actually a lot more to it.
I think online very hard to find a good recipe that's accurate, and when you bake out, right, it looks exactly like in the picture.
Oh.
That's one.
Okay.
Because you don't know whether the person really posted the right recipe or not. Number 2, when someone bakes it, right, you change the mixing oven, you change the person mixing it, you change the oven, everything changes. Today, right, you can take one recipe, I take one recipe. We both bake the cake is going to turn out very different. So I feel that today, if someone were to buy a cake from the shelf, they are not just buying convenience, not just buying taste, but it's also every time when is that recipe baked by that mixer, that oven, that the way of fridging it, the cake turns out completely different.
So they're aiming for that consistency. Like, every time they pay, you get this particular consistency over and over again.
Yes.
Compared to doing yourself, sometimes your oven, the heat too strong, forget this, forget that, it tastes very different.
Correct. But I can understand the charm of a very good strawberry shortcake that's made from home also. If someone is very good at that and they can consistently get fresh, good vanilla cakes out of the oven, and then they put their own President whipping cream and then the fresh strawberries, they can still bake very good cakes at home lah. Yeah.
Okay. So then my next question would be then, how from this first experience with baking your own cake, how did then your home business come about? Because I know you really, immediately got factories from home business, then you slowly scale up. So how did the home business or Bob the Baker Boy, first got started?
So I feel that the beauty of the cake and home baking industries is you can start with very little capital, which is why there's so many home bakers, right? And a lot of people are very passionate about baking. So I started out with the same kind of interest towards baking. Then I realized that there are people that want to get like fresh baked goods from home, right? So then I decided to, with this recipe that I have, I'm going to spin out different variations. So
the first one is the chocolate cake recipe for sure.
Yeah, then after that later there is the vanilla. Then I cannot remember already. I remember last time I have this very black sesame tofu flavor. Yeah, of course that didn't sell very well, right? But so I marketed it through Facebook. Not even paid ads, just post.
On your organic wall, your wall, something like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct. And Instagram, just post. Then the people who buy are
your friends, relatives.
Friends or relatives. Then later my friend will go and tell their friend. And then they will buy. Then every time when I remember my first big order was from a company that bought actually just an 8-inch cake. After they buy already, then they never drop me feedback. So that time I'm very serious on it. Every order that goes out, I must make sure that they got tell me that it's nice or not. Then when I messaged her, I asked her, hey, how's the cake? I haven't heard from you after you bought it. She never replied me. Wow, I'm very affected because she never replied me that whether the cake is nice or not. So it was those very, very micro details that I cared about at that time. But only to realize that actually it's very normal. After you buy a cake from someone, will you keep going back to the seller and say, hey, whether it's nice or not nice, you buy and then you forget. Right? So, it was really primarily word of mouth for the first year. Yeah.
So, because this reminds me of earlier you mentioned when you're selling the headphone, you were selling it to people who were quote-unquote influencer. Like you sell to them, then they start telling other people. So this is something similar like what I'm hearing now. You sell it to the initial friends, relative on Facebook, and then they start to help you promote your cake. So there's a lot of word of mouth marketing. And then word of mouth marketing only works if the product is of a certain level, right? If it's so shitty, who wants to promote it? So I would assume that from the start, the cake, before it was even launched to market, it was actually of a very high quality level standard of taste already.
Okay, I think Singaporean very simple. As long as the cake don't so sweet.
Yeah, that's the next question.
Right.
Because one of your USP, your unique selling propositions, that your cakes are all less sweet. 25% if I'm not wrong. That's is that the number I always see? 25% or?
Let me think. Okay, I think we always make our cakes less sweet in a sense where today, right, if you eat it, you won't feel very sick. And it's the type that today if we send, is according to Health Promotion Board guidelines type. Yeah, because we've tried that before. We've sent it to lab test before.
What's a Health Promotion Board guideline for cakes?
I can't remember off my head, but with a certain serving size, it cannot be more than, I think, 20 grams of sugar or something.
Right.
And ours is below.
So why did you choose to go with the less sweet option? Because I know many food outside, they like more sugar, more sweet because tastes better. But why do you then go with the opposite approach, less sweet?
Because I feel like the Singaporean taste bud wants cakes to be less sweet. then they can keep going for the second serving. And that's their definition of what is good.
Right. And would you say that this is only happened maybe in the recent years, like maybe in the 80s, 90s? I don't think my parents think that way. They less sweet, they probably complain.
Yeah.
Whereas now, maybe I don't know, last 5-10 years, that has changed. People want less sweet.
Yes, correct. So every time I see Google reviews, right, people say, oh, this cake very nice because it's not so sweet.
Ah.
You know, they don't talk about anything else. They don't talk about, wow, the flavor A, B, C, use which chocolates, use which. No, they don't. They say, it's good because it's less sweet. Because I can go for the second serving.
Oh.
And then my parents also like it. Then the kids also can have it because it's not too sweet.
Wow. So that was an insight you learned from the Google reviews that you saw lah.
Oh, I think it's over the years.
Ah.
Yeah, but at that time, right, I think it was very intuitive in me that like if I don't want something that is so sweet, I won't serve people something that's so sweet.
Okay. So actually, even before the feedback came, you already wanted your cake to be not so sweet already.
Yes, correct.
I
I
see.
think because I came in with the lens of I think people like what I like, but which is actually not very right.
People like
As
what
we
your sister
know,
like.
right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So like we all know that now this don't hold.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that if like I like means I people like. But at that point of time that was how I thought lor. Like if I don't want it to be so sweet, then I think people also won't want it to be so sweet. Yeah. So that was how I marketed Bob the Baker Boy at the start, right? And I think we all have the circle of influences around us. Today, if we start a business, there will sure be like that few guardian angels around us that will be the one that first help to spin the business.
You mean like that relative or friends of yours who is willing to help support you?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think it's those few people that will first kickstart the ball rolling. Yeah.
So if anybody who's listening to this who has second thoughts, I guess that's a very powerful message. You just start, right? Because I think the universe would favor the bold, right? Those who wants to, give it a fair shot, a fair attempt. Okay. So as you have more orders coming in, and when you work from home as a home baker, your oven is all limited. You don't have like 10 or 20. So how do you then know how much orders you can cope? And so I'm just curious, how did then things slowly scale up and you realize, man, I need to actually move out of my house?
Okay, so if we look at it in years lah, right? The first year was just figuring out what I was doing, getting the circle of influence. I wasn't doing a lot of cake orders. If every day there's 1 or 2 orders that came in, I would have hit my quota.
Okay.
That's that. It was a very, very simple life.
Okay, maybe before you carry on. So you're hoping for 1 or 2 cake orders per day. So are you like every day on Facebook doing a post to say, I have this cake for the day, blah, 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 or...
Oh, I cannot remember, man. Yeah, but I think at that time, I knew nothing about business and I was like adopting that hope and pray approach, Spray and pray, spray and pray. Yeah, so just like, don't know whether I got do daily posts or not, but just hoping that today someone will message me and say they want a cake.
Okay, and you're taking orders primarily just through WhatsApp, I guess?
Yeah,
Message,
WhatsApp.
okay.
WhatsApp. On the second year, got a little bit more serious. So I went to Facebook. Last time they call it Power Editor.
Okay.
Right? Then after that, I went to run Facebook ads. At like what, $5-10 a day? But last time, those good old days are $5-10. They do give you orders and exposure, right? So then it was just a really very simple ad. Just a picture and then like a little description and then maybe a WhatsApp me button or something. Cannot remember already. But then there are really people that came in through the ads one. And then the second powerful approach that helped kickstart the business was Carousel.
Right, well, okay.
Yeah. So I sold my cakes through Carousel. So I set up a Bob the Baker Boy account. And then I started posting cakes. Every time when I did a cake, I would post it on Carousel.
Carousel don't just sell used items, they also sell new items, I suppose.
Yes, correct. So you don't have to transact through the website that time through Carousel then. So people will look at it, they will chat with you via Carousel, and then they will just make payment to you via PayNow or bank transfer.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, and last time I don't even go and check my account to see if the money comes in or not. I just do.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't even have proper invoice. I don't even like write down. I will just do everything like free flow. Yeah, that was really how I did. Then the next step was, okay, I think I need a bit more structure. So I started to take a ring file and then an A5 paper. And then I'll write down name, contact number, address, and then what flavor, and then what this person wants. and then I'll just look at the order every day, and then I'll see what I need to produce for the next day.
Okay, so whenever you get an order, you'll write the details down in that ring file.
Yes,
Then for the day, you refer to it, what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Okay.
And back to your question just now, I think I'm always a very fast worker. So like in the second year, I didn't have that feeling of not enough oven. I'll just work faster so that the oven can
Be available
don't
for the
rest.
next cake. Okay.
Yeah, so the oven don't rest. And also because at the time orders not a lot lah. One oven still can handle. Yeah, then but what was not enough was fridge space. So I think maybe on the second year or third year, I cannot remember. Then I started to buy those kind of chiller fridge that is for putting cakes. So the cakes are properly refrigerated. Because as a home baker, right, we don't realize how important it is for the cake to be chilled, because the house is already hot. There's no proper air conditioning already. You frost the cake, after a while the cake melt already. Yeah, so like really need proper refrigeration. So I think on the second or third year, then I bought a fridge primarily for me to put cakes. And that was also my parents' way of saying like, hey, I support you, go and chase your dreams. And at that time, my dream was to continue to be a home baker.
Okay.
Yeah, because to my parents, their point of view is, don't go and rent outside. Your rent will kill you, man, I tell you. Yeah. So that was the mindset I always had. And I never dreamed like, wow, big, I want this, I want that, I want to go overseas, I want that. No, don't have. I only just said, I want to be home baker forever.
Right. And so when was that moment, the exact moment when you realized, hey, this is actually something I can do forever or for the foreseeable future? When did that moment kick in?
I think when I start seeing results. So I feel that humans we are not motivated by motivation. We are motivated by results. When we see results, we'll naturally be motivated to want to continue to do more. Yeah, so when I start seeing results from, word of mouth, from Facebook ads, from Carousel, then I tell myself, okay, so how can I get even more orders from these different channels? Yeah, so I started to do Instagram ads. Yeah, and because like my cakes are aesthetic cakes so then they do well on Instagram. Yeah, so I started to do Instagram postings, started to do Instagram ads. And at that point of time, because I was also very keen on learning, so I went to attend courses on digital marketing. How do you further optimize your ads so that you can bring in more sales through advertisements? Yeah, and I went to take those courses. And it was through that course where I met my first mentors in my life. And my first mentors in my life, they taught me, hey, actually, right? So, because at the same time, I'm also a very sweet person. When I meet someone for the first time, right, then I'll bring like a bag of nicely wrapped cookies that I baked. And then I passed to that lady. Then I said, yeah, this is for you. It's a bag of cookies that I baked. Until now, we're still very, very good friends, So, yeah, I said, this is a bag of cookies that I made. I think I left the impression on them, because at the time, that course, they were teaching drop shipping. Yeah, so, but then they said, hey, if you have a unique product, then you don't need to go and buy items from China to sell to US, You can essentially use the digital marketing skills to go and promote your own products, your own uniquely yours product. Then that really opened my eyes and my realm to whatever that was possible. Yeah, so then I started to learn from them digital marketing. How to use Facebook and Instagram ads to drive sales. Yeah, and that was the very, very pivotal point in my life.
And this is still, I believe, the primary driver of sales for business even till today, still using ads.
Correct. So until now, I think that really, which is why I say that is a very, very pivotal moment of my life, right? Because it taught me that, hey, actually there's a very important thing in e-commerce business, which is marketing. Yeah, and of course, marketing is such a huge umbrella, got so many different things, right? But they really opened my eyes to, okay, how do you get more people to know about you so that people can buy from you? And then, of course, then it's a circle where, like, okay, then after that, how do you prove to people that the product is good, the experience is good, so people want to keep coming and buy again? And then you close that loop and it keeps spinning.
So when did the transition happen from a home baker to having a factory where you realize, oh, this house is not enough already. I need something bigger. So
Yeah.
how was that transition like? Or tell me about it.
Wow, okay. So that's an 8-year journey already. Right? 8-year journey. Yeah. So okay, so the first 2 years, don't really know what I'm doing. Post on Post on Carousel. 3rd year, met my first mentors, right? Then they taught me how to do digital marketing. Then I started to spend more money on advertisements. Then last time the world of digital marketing is so great. You spend more money, you get back more money. And that was how the business scaled. As I pump in more money in digital marketing, more people knew about me and more people bought from me. Then I was also in mommy groups and all of that. Then they bought more cakes lah. So at that point of time, right, at home, I was doing like maybe let's say 40 plus cakes a week at home. My like one pair of hands.
5 a day? 5, 6 a day?
Yeah, and that is quite that's quite a lot for a person to handle, because I also at that time was doing delivery, handling customers, and so those days I was working like really 16 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, 16 hours. Then I remember when I go back to my room, I go back to my toilet, then I look at my hand. Got burn stains from the oven because I was trying to do things so fast. Got colouring on my hands that cannot be washed off. Think my lips like turning blue already because really working very, very hard. Then I put on weight also because I was testing my products and making sure that they taste good, and then I got no time to take care of your health. Yeah, so that was that period in my life where actually I feel, looking back, it's quite a down period because I don't have time to take care of myself. Yeah, but I was just primarily trying to fulfill orders. And also because I was not a very detailed person, right? I frequently screw orders up. Yeah, so I'll write wrong names. I'll forget to attach things on the order. And actually in bakery, in like when you celebrate a person's birthday, right? Imagine today I give a cake for your daughter's birthday and the name spelled wrong.
Wow.
I tell you, really not come find me. Yeah, so it's that kind of feeling. So but at that time I didn't understand how important it was to get an order right lah. But it was through quite a few hard knocks and failures, and I realized, oh my god, I really need to have a proper system in place to document the name down correctly, to document the address down, attach all the different things, maybe create a checklist or something so that I don't mix up orders again. If not, I can work 16 hours a day, but then my reputation will be down. So at that time, even though it was just a home business, right? But it was my baby. It was everything that I got. And whenever someone said something bad about the brand, right, it will affect me very, very deeply because I put in so much hard work and effort to want to see it grow. Yeah, but so at that time when I was hitting about 40, 50 orders a week, I knew that was the limit to my hands, my brains, my oven, my fridge, and I knew that I had to get a shop space. Why I want to get a shop space? Not because of the glory or vanity of having a shop. In fact, my first shop was like a very shabby 300 square feet unit at Junction 9, a mall that nobody knows. But because it was convenient and it was cheap, the rent. The main reason why I wanted to move out was so that I can hire people. I realized that my hands and legs, no matter how fast I move, it's not enough. And I needed to hire someone lah. So I don't know where I got the balls from. But I hired 2 full-timers and 2 part-timers, interns, for a start.
Wow, not one, just go 4.
Yeah,
okay.
Total 4 people. But I did my calculation and I tell myself, okay, I think can.
Okay.
So when everything got set up already, right, I got a shock of my life lah. Because I thought that they will work the same speed as me. Only to realize they work half or less. But the beautiful thing is, they do it a lot better. Because at that point of time, you look at me, right, I'm the type that, very efficiency driven, very goal oriented, need to complete orders. But then the thing about you complete, but you complete it well is another thing. But these people, they came from different bakeries where they care about a lot about the quality of the cake. they care a lot about taking pride in the work that they do, and that was the biggest gift that they taught me. That was the lesson that they really taught me that I wouldn't have learned myself lah. Yeah, so they put a lot of effort into doing one figurine up, into creaming a cake smoothly, and they taught me how to take pride in my work. Yeah.
So how do you find your first 2 hire? You mentioned you got 2 full-time, right? How do you use it? Running ads, newspaper?
Oh, okay. So I used to work in the bakery like 3 years ago, right? And then I was still in touch with some of the people who has already left the company also. I said, hey, I'm actually looking at hiring people. Do you know anybody who is looking for a job? Then after that, later they say, yeah. This person, I think this person is looking for a job. You know, then after that, later I went to approach this person. I still remember this guy. I met him at Moss Burger. You know, and I say, hey, my shop is not there yet, but I'm looking for a fondant artist. Would you want to join me? You know, his expectations was also like matched with mine lah. And then he didn't even have to see the shop. He said yes. I'm like, wow, oh my god, this is godsend. This guy don't even know what he's going into, but he just said yes to me. And now, like, fast forward 5 years, he's still with me.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's wow. The universe is a way of, you know.
Yeah, correct. And now I'm like speaking to my manager on, hey, okay, so what is a 5-year long service award that we're going to give to our team? And that 5-year long service award is to give to him lah. Nice. Right? And that's that guy that I interviewed at Moss Burger. And until now we still joke about it because like during the interview he was wearing gold chain, he was wearing his Rolex. Yeah, so very interesting story. I realized that the reason why customized cakes command a premium is because with a pair of hands, there's very limited that one person can do because they put so much effort, pride, and a time to the artistry.
So speaking of cakes, I think you mentioned there's a few key components like fondant, the sponge cake, and stuff like that. Maybe you can walk me through what are the different key components of a cake, because maybe people like me are idiot, we do not know what are names of all the different parts of a cake.
Okay, so walk you through the entire journey lah. Okay, today you buy a cake from me, you go through the customer service, you complete the order gets routed to the kitchen, right? So the kitchen will bake the cake. They bake the cake in layers. So after they bake the cake in layers, then it will be routed to the stacking station where they stack the flavor according to what you want. So for example, say you want cookies and cream, so then we'll stack it to cookies and cream, and then later the colouring station will then colour the cake. So they'll colour to whatever colour you want. So for example, let's say today you want a pink cake, okay, then they will colour it according to a pastel pink cake.
Okay, let me just backtrack a little bit. You said I wanted cookies and cream. So where does the cookies and cream appear on the cake?
Oh, inside.
You mean the inside the cream of the sponges, is it? The flavour is cookies and cream?
Yes, correct.
Okay, got it. And that's where you add the colour, the pink cake, the pastel pink. Okay.
Correct. So it's kind of like build a cake, you know?
Yes.
Build a cake. So like, oh, you want a pink cake? Okay, then pink cake.
Okay.
Then after later it gets routed to the decoration station, where the decoration station looks at your order and say, oh, okay, this pink cake has polka dots, has funfetti, has sprinkles, has ice cream cone, and has a figurine on top. Then where do they get the figurine? They get it from the fondant station that looks at your order and say, oh, okay, there is a figurine of Rainer on the cake. So then they'll craft the figurine of Rainer looking at your picture. Then they will do it with the sugar dough from scratch.
Okay, so for those of you listening not sure what is a fondant, can we explain to them what is a fondant?
Okay, in simple terms, sugar dough.
Okay, sugar dough.
Yeah,
that can be molded to whatever shape you want.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
And can be colored into any color, you know, and then in the right temperature, it will harden so that you can put it on the cake. Because if it's soft, it will melt, it will not be stable to put on the cake. There's a lot of science to baking. Yeah. So then they will put the figurine of Rainer on the pink cake with polka dot, with funfetti, with ice cream cone and all of that, and then maybe write the word Rainer. Pink polka dot cake.
Sounds delicious.
Cookies and cream. Yeah, and then they'll complete the order, they'll pack it. The logistics team will then check the cake and then it gets routed out lor.
Got it. So from what I'm hearing, it moves through different departments, and each department is specialized in doing a certain thing like layering the cake, designing, putting the whatever flavors for the respective.
Yes, correct. But at the start, this was not how it was lah. When I was at Junction 9, that 300 square feet space, one person had to wear multiple hats. Actually, until now, one person still wear multiple hats, right? But at that time, really, 4 people, no, including myself, 5 people, 5 people were doing all of these functions. So there is 2 customer service that is also the ones that are checking the cake, but actually last time never checked. Right? No, really. Okay, so they were answering the customers and all of that. They were preparing the orders to be routed to the kitchen. And then the 2, together with myself, 3 of us in the kitchen, we were doing the baking, the filling of cakes, preparing of fillings, the colouring, the fondant, the names, the decoration, the packing, everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
But back then when you were a home baker, were you really doing such customized cakes with fondant, or was fondant, all along you had fondant right from the start?
So which is why I had to work 16 hours ma. Because I was doing everything.
Okay.
From the customer service to the baking to the filling to stacking, colouring, everything.
Oh, so since day one, your cake is really customized, not like, say, a chocolate cake recipe, which we spoke about earlier. It's a chocolate cake recipe, but it can be customized already.
So there's a mixture. Some will order like the regular cakes with no design, but rarely. Most people order customized cakes because I live in Yishun, right? So not everybody will drive to Yishun to get a regular chocolate cake. When they can go to anywhere to buy an awfully chocolate cake.
Yes.
Yeah, they won't, ma. Yeah, so they will only come to me if they want a design cake.
I see. So I keep hearing the awfully chocolate. So I guess among all the chocolate cakes in Singapore, also awfully chocolate would be one of the top few who you would say is to your liking, to your preference.
Not true. Not that awfully chocolate is not good, but I think with that quality, they can maintain that quality at this scale. I think very good lah.
I see. Yeah, the scaling part, right? That's the consistency of getting the cake out the same way over and over again. That's a challenge in itself.
Yes, because today, if you ask anyone in Singapore to bake the best strawberry shortcake from their home oven, with the amount of time, anybody can do it, honestly. With enough research, with enough whatever, you bake one cake only, ma.
Yes.
Then with the oven, confirm you can control the heat, you can control everything, you can get perfect cottony chocolate, strawberry shortcake. The reason why I say that is because that time when I was a home baker, I really baked the best strawberry shortcake. I think it's a really damn nice type. Like I think like you want to get like what Chateraise or any Japanese bakery, you cannot fight with that because it's really very nice. When you bake it from scratch from your oven, But once you decide to bake it at scale, everything changes. You put a recipe through one entire production process with so many people handling it. Very different, very very different. So which is why I feel. So now I have a very different lens to recipes, cakes, and business, right? When like it's not about the best recipe, it's about today how consistent can you keep your cakes and still be a flavor that people can accept. And 80% of the people that tried your cake actually likes it.
I agree. Just look at McDonald's. They don't serve the best burgers, but look at their queue, right?
Yeah.
The consistency of their burger is just there every single time. So that makes the perfect point that you just brought up.
It's not the best. Yeah. Yeah, correct.
So, for example, you started home baking. How many years ago has it been really since you first started?
This year is my 8th year, including home baking.
Okay.
So 5 years brick and mortar.
Okay, so if someone were to, let's say, start a home baking business, maybe doing something similar like what you've done previously, how is it different today now compared to maybe 8 years ago? Or is it you would say there's not much difference? Right? That process that you just went through, they'll probably go through the same process as well.
Actually, I didn't realize 8 years ago, but I think 8 years ago, the home baking scene was not as competitive. Of course, there are people that home bake, and that was also a primary reason why I didn't. I wasn't thinking about growing my business to like a large scale. Then because right, I go and look up Instagram type cakes in Singapore. What a lot of accounts . Then at that time, right, I tell myself, walao, how to be in this industry, so many competition, right? Then what makes me think that my cakes will be better than other people because other people so talented, then they go to school, so a lot of self-doubt, right? Yeah, but I did it anyway, and I don't know why I got the courage to do it anyway. I think because I saw results. So this is the thing. Where was I? Yeah, so I I feel like at that time, the home baking scene not so competitive. But now after COVID, what everyone knows that they can bake from home, right? I think really the home baking scene is getting very, very competitive. Anyone can buy from any home baker, and you really need to be a bit more unique to stand out, whether it's your product offering or how you reach out to people to get more people to know about you. Yeah.
So back then you said you were primarily organic traffic. You post on Facebook, wall, friends and relatives would support. So if let's say you were to do that today, do you think the traction will be as good, or is a lot more competitive and maybe you probably get less traction
I
from
think
this?
now maybe harder to start because last time e-commerce not so booming. Yeah, so you can start with $5 of ad spend and still get some traffic. Now $5 won't give you anything.
Because too many people using that
Yeah, too many
strategy.
people using. I mean, like, what you want to boost a post for $5-10. You're not gonna reach many people. But at that time, 8 years ago, $5-10 you can reach some people. And then like now there are so many bakeries that and at that time I think when I entered customized cakes, I was one of the first few. Yeah, first few. That time customized cakes was not a very, very big thing yet. Yeah, so if you post customized cake, you don't see a lot of people posting customized cakes. But now customized cake is all over Instagram, no? You anyhow type one customized cake, you get a lot of different accounts that are doing customized cakes. So how do you differentiate yourself from other people? And what will make someone want to buy from you as a home baker? Yeah, I think so. Not that it's impossible, but now it poses a different set of challenges.
I see. Okay. Also want to add, earlier you mentioned that you realized that, wow, there's so many people doing this baking cake from home, and you realize, wow, who are you to compete, because there's so much competition. But at the same time, from my point of view, right, sometimes I want to see competition, like when I do YouTube videos, I want to see competition. I want to see a lot of people creating such videos because it tells me that there is demand for it. If I don't see any, it tells me that, well, means nobody interested. Then will probably be worse off if I were to create in a niche where there's not much views. So for cake, I'm thinking along the lines of, there's a lot of people having such businesses or accounts on Instagram. It tells me that there's a lot of demand for such cakes, right? Rather than I don't find any, I'll be more worried, is there even a demand for it? So what's your take on that?
Yeah, so you make a lot of sense. I think it's about someone's mindset, right? Whether do you see a glass half full or half empty? Yeah, and maybe at that point of time, I was looking at things from a very half empty point of view. Yeah, when actually it means that there is demand. That's why there are people doing it.
All right, okay. So throughout your 8 years of business journey, what are some of the biggest challenges that you face, right? And how do you overcome it?
I feel that different stages have different challenges, and I think as I continue to grow the company, there will be even more different challenges. So I remember when I first started business, my mentor told me that I was sharing with my mentor about like what were some of my challenges at that point of view, at that point in time. Then he said this, you think that when you grow your business, your problems will become smaller, but actually your problems become bigger. But it's just that you become stronger to be able to handle bigger problems. Yeah, and that really resonates with me now. So I think at the start as home baking, right, I think the problem was I didn't have enough time. So I was constantly struggling to do everything myself, but yet got no money to hire people. So need to constantly think of creative ways on how to hire people, how to attract talent to work for you, and how to systemize and structure things so that the talent that you hired to help you is of help. So that was that point of time and trying to then the second stage at Junction 9 where I had 4 people was labor cost will increase in your P&L, right? Because you think that one person can do this amount, but actually one person can only do half of what you think they can do, correct? Then how do you constantly juggle between, okay, I need to get more sales, to I need to systemize and structure how to route orders that came in to the kitchen in a systematic way so that there won't be errors. How do I how do I get how do I streamline the fondant person's work so that he don't feel very busy every day? How do I get the person that's creaming to continue to cream faster, but at the same time, he must still feel that there's work-life balance, and how do I, and at the time I already had this point of view of how do I create a happy workplace where they all, right, when they go to work, they feel happy. Then every day I will have lunch with them, I will talk to them, I'll connect with them. And I think that those early days were the building blocks to the trust that they have now in the company. Even when they don't see me around very often, we had that memories together lah, of every day eating like noodles together, and working until very late together. Those were the times. So then as the company grew a little bit more, I think it was production problems. So like, how do you, produce consistently? How do you produce consistently? How do you prevent errors? Like, okay, we missed this thing out. Oh, we missed that thing out. Oh, that cake melt. Oh, not enough delivery drivers. All these kind of operational problems. But demand side, it wasn't much of a big problem. At that time, you press one button, increase budget, sales increase.
Power editor. The power editor.
You do SEO, got traffic. From 0 to 10, right? It's like, sales at that point in time, it was working long hours, handling employment contracts. Like, all these are new to me, ma. Wow, oh my god, I didn't know. Then after that later, got people MC, MC then how? Because the operation's so lean, right? One person MC then, everybody knew until 12 o'clock. It's that kind. So a lot of operational problems. Then slowly think about, how do you systemize things, right? How do you use technology to help us so that we can save time. And then after that later, as we moved to our next place, which is about 1,500 square feet, other than all the renovation problems, or how do you systemize the workflow so that, how do you design the kitchen, yada yada, I think the next problem that happened was cultural problem, where I didn't understand what it means by hire people with the right values, put people in the right place, right seat, right whatever, right bus. I didn't know all of that. So then there were cultural problems. There were Top Guns in the company. You familiar with Top Gun?
You mean the movie?
Not really a movie, but maybe the term. Like, to me, Top Gun in the company means people who think that they're smarter than everyone else. And to me, it took me about maybe 1-2 years of hiring and firing people to realize that actually my company don't really have a place for Top Guns. Yeah, because these are the people who are toxic and they pull the company down. Because they're constantly thinking that, I can do it better than you. Why are you so slow? Constantly comparing the amount of work that they're doing with someone else. So at a point of time, right, I think the culture became like the toxic kind of company culture that I didn't appreciate. And it split the company into half. This Cam A versus Cam B. Cam A is constantly unhappy with Cam B. Cam B is constantly complaining about Cam A. And imagine at that point of time, I was already not very much into operations. But I was doing, I was doing a lot of customer service. So I was still coming in at 6 a.m. Cannot let go. Cannot delegate. So keep following up. And then I made sure that I was always on the ball and always at work and always showing up. That was my way of showing the team that I was responsible. But imagine every time when I go to work, right, I'll be handling human problems. This person not happy with that person. There's politics in the company, and because of that, then productivity is not there. So I think that point of time was also, I really was not looking forward to going to work because of all of these problems. So imagine I go work at 6, finish everything. 9 a.m. someone wants to talk to you, and then I will spend like 1-2 hours to counsel and talk to one person, then later go on with my day with another 1-2-3 person. So there were people that I thought were pillars of the company that worked for me for 10 years, that kind of very, very naive mindset. But then they tell me that I'm not happy in the company. So that time I wanted to build a company that was a place where people would go to work feeling happy and fulfilled, But that dream of mine was destroyed. And then even my manager that came up to me and say, actually what? You told me that, in this managerial path, I will have growth, I will have fulfillment. But now I feel nothing about that and I cannot sleep at night every day. Actually, I just want to come to work, do my things and go home. I don't want to face all of this politics. So at that time, I felt very affected also, right? Like I feel like I failed my duty as the leader of the company, even though I read so many leadership books, also no use, right? Yeah. So those were the timing lah. Those were the times. Yeah. But then after later, I understood. Actually, hiring people with the right values very important. That was really the key lah to cultural fixes in the company. Moving on from that, then it was because I worked so hard, right, in the last 6-7 years lah. That I remember there was this intern that I hired that really impacted my life. He told me this. I hired him, very, very smart guy. He told me, wow, May, you built a great business. You built a great business. But I see you come to work at 6:30 a.m. every day. Today, if 2 days you never come, I foresee there'll be a lot of problems in the company. That was really a very big wake-up call for me. Because I think I spent 6-7 years. This is my baby. I dedicate so much time and effort to it. But someone told me that, business cannot do without me. But you and I, we both are business owners, right? That one is like a mega hit lah. So I remember that day I went back and cried. Imagine 19-year-old tell you this, That night, after I finished crying already, I took a piece of paper and then I wrote down everything that I was doing at the point in time. Then I separated into 3 buckets. And then I tell myself, okay, I'm going to hold on to the top bucket. Things that I want to do and I have to do. I will do. I will retain that. The others, right, I'll just delegate out and I'll hire people to do it. Yeah, then, so that was the journey and that was me learning to delegate. Yeah, so life has become less busy then because I realized that I was no longer in operations and I was taking on a much more strategic role. And towards the end of last year, I hired HR. So the HR person came in, right? Wow, even better. Wow, really the mind becomes a lot clearer, right? Where I just needed to focus on the strategic things about the company. Of course, still keep tabs on the operations where we have a dashboard and we just look at it every week. Yeah, but I do agree that as a leader of the company, when you're dealing with HR problems, when you're doing operational problems, it clouds your brain and it makes you not be able to see where's the direction of the company because you're so busy burying yourself in operations every day. Yeah.
So what's your role now in the company? I'm hearing the word strategic, so is that what you do primarily now?
Yes. How do you continue to grow and scale the company? And how do you help your team achieve their own dreams? They are also aligned with the company. I also still take on kind of like a GM position in the company where I still have an overview of how operations is like and how do you continue to motivate and incentivize your team to keep up the good work and help them to be empowered in taking ownership of their roles and accountability. Yeah, so that's that lah.
So you wear many hats in the business right now. So what are the things that you do that gives you the most fulfillment or the things that you love to do the most?
Let me think. Okay. I'm inspired by innovation. So for example today, okay, I enjoy social interactions lah. I'm introvert.
With your employees?
No, with people generally, other business owners like you.
Oh,
hey.
Right. I'll give you extra points for your podcast later. Okay, well done. Okay.
Okay, so so when I have social interactions, sometimes I get inspired by new ideas, new technology, new products, or ways of doing things, and through those social interactions, let's say if I learn something and I bring it back to the business that can help to move the needle and bring exponential improvements, whether it's through operations, I think that really inspires me. The second thing is when I see that the team is really fulfilled and enjoy their job and they are very empowered, that also really, really inspires me. Like, for example, that manager that I talked about, that he said that actually he wanted to quit his job, or he's thinking of leaving his job from that point, 2 years ago, to now telling me that, he's very invested in the company's growth. And I look at the way he handled problems now. Very, very different from 2 years ago. And I know that this company was a very good ground for this person to grow. And like it really has helped him a lot personally, professionally. And that makes me want to continue to impact other people's lives. Yeah. Who feel that this company is a place for them to grow and to prosper. Yeah.
So would you say there's a limitation to it? Because the business, for example, someone do fondant, someone do the layering of the cake, there's only so much growth they can have before they become an expert at their craft. So what's next? Besides becoming an expert fondant artist, or maybe I become a next layering expert, then there's only a certain cap to what I can be, right? In terms of that aspect of the operations. So how else can maybe that group of people want to grow, since you mentioned that you want to see them grow and to be fulfilled?
Okay, so I see as 3 paths. One path is graduating out of the company, right?
Okay.
The first path is they are very technical skills focused and they want to be best at what they do, right? So then that requires day in, day out of practicing that craft to become the best at what they do. But of course, because one person has limitations to that pair of hands, right? So then there will really be limit in terms of where the salary can grow till, right? But some people are just very happy doing that. They are very happy, and to each his own. But there is another path, which is managerial. So do you want to become a section leader and manage like a team of 5 to 8 people, and then help to like you were once that person who wanted to be good at what you do. Now you're good at what you do, and you have that hunger for wanting to grow your managerial skills to help to fulfill other people's lives of wanting to be good at what they do also. Yeah, so now you can take on that role. Do you want to? And some of them is like, okay, yes, I want to try. Then they will learn leadership skills, managerial skills, empathy, how to deliver difficult conversations, how to get people, how to lead by influence. And all of that they learn, and they get to see what are the metrics that I need to measure in my team so that I get a bird's eye view of how everyone is performing without having to micromanage. So these are all the different skill sets that they can learn. And that one, there's of course much more potential and room for growth. And some people just want to stay there because that also has its stress. Then there is also another way where they can grow to become like maybe the head of kitchen, the operations manager, and more, depending on where they want to grow. And for me, right, one of my motivations of growing the company is so that you can create more leadership positions to empower other people to grow in their positions. Because the sad truth about F&B is there's just a limit to how much you can pay one person. But if they can grow in their positions and contribute to the company in more ways, right, then there is a greater ceiling to where their salary can grow, and then they can then bring that money, go and support their family, feel fulfilled in their job, and that's what really drives me.
Okay. And earlier you mentioned that you enjoyed speaking to business owners like myself. Just kidding. Yeah. So and then you said you like to learn insights and strategies that you're using and then apply it to your own business and to see if it works. Are there any examples that comes to mind that you tried something and then, hey, this really works?
Okay, there are so many. So let me recall. Okay. Of course, there are a lot of like little things. I think in the entire journey that inspired me. But there's one very, very needle moving one, which is learning about this thing called Scaling Up by Vern Harnish. Where you focus on 4 pillars of the business: cash, strategy, execution, people. So people will fix the right people on the right seat thing, which is, do you have the right person to do the right job? And is the person the right person for the company? So they want to solve all the politics, the cultural issues, and make the team, make the company generally a pleasant place to work in. That's the first one. The second one will teach me about how do I lay down the roadmap for the company so that I can guide the company in the right direction. Of course, it comes with its challenges and I'm still learning. And then later, with the strategy and the right people in place, how do I execute the entire plan? And this was like very, very needle moving for me because like it allowed me to not need to micromanage or not need to constantly be besides the team to know whether they are doing a good job or not. It's kind of like today you are driving a car. How do you know whether your car everything okay or not? You look at the dashboard. Yeah, and essentially that is what that framework teaches me. How do I build the dashboard for my company so that with that dashboard I know how every station is doing, and with my weekly interactions I know whether they're doing okay or not. Do they need help? Where else should I be spending my time on so that I continue to lead them better?
So for this business of yours, is it something that you eventually hope to sell away for an exit, or is something that you want to do for the rest of your life?
Good question. So I never really thought about that until recently when a friend just told me, hey May, actually I realized you're not leading the business with an end in mind, and it's very important to start with an end in mind. I do have my 5-year goal for the business, but I realized I didn't have an end in mind. Yeah. So maybe you need to ask me a year later, I'll tell you.
Okay, I'll invite you back for another episode and you can share with me your end in mind. Because this is something that, like you, I didn't really think about it, because when cash flow is coming, I want to think about the end in mind. But then after a while, I kind of realized, like for my case, I know that it's very hard to exit and sell. So it's probably going to be a business that's just going to be around for 5-10 years and hopefully get people to run it, but still generate cash flow. But I know it's very hard to sell. So I guess I know where my place is and just kind of accept it as the way it is. But for you, I think I can see it as a point of a potential exit, since the systems, you talk about systems, checklists, the processes that you have built, all those are very valuable, right? That another person might want to buy and take over. So I think you have more options. You can choose to run it for the rest of your life, or possibly for an exit. I think exit is definitely something very possible, from at least my point of view. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's something that I need to put more thought into. Like, what do I actually want in my life? Yeah.
So earlier you talk a lot about systems, right, and checklists, right? You think how to systemize everything. So are all those things that you just sit down, brainstorm and think about it on your own, or do you have like someone to consult with? What do you think is the best way to do stuff like that? Blah blah blah. So how was it for you?
Oh, okay. So we engaged a business coach to walk us through the entire process on, in each station, what were the metrics that were important to look at. And so we just look at those few metrics in every station. And then every time when we see that station, the metric is in the red zone, then we know that there's something that we need to look at about. So like for me, my mantra in operations is always, today if it's not broken, then don't fix it. But if it's broken, it tells me that there's something wrong with the system that we need to revise, review, so that the system can continually evolve and become sharper.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess that goes the same for the recipe of your cake. I mean, if it's good, then don't bother improving the recipe or don't tweak it. Just leave it as it is.
Yes, which is why, like, only in the recent 1+ year, right, we really very actively gather feedback from our customers on what do you think of our cake. Last time I never bothered to ask because I feel that you ask really later, people say not nice, then how? Right? But I feel like now, right, you ask. Then if they say nice, then good. If they say not nice, it means that you really need to improve. If not, later there is a leaky bucket. You can keep acquiring customers, but if people don't like it, then they will just go one time, they will never come back again. So it's the ability of me to put down my ego and accept negative feedback whenever there really is lah. I would rather know than not know. It's kind of like today, if you know that you're unhealthy, but do you still dare to go for a health checkup? It's that kind of thing, So But I decided, okay, so then we actively gather feedback. So every week we will go and measure our NPS score. Every week. Yeah. So
Maybe you can
and then we'll
explain
track
to
that.
the audience what is the NPS score.
Oh, okay, wait. Net Promoter Score. It's a very common metric to see whether the customers are happy or not with your service, and will they return? Will they refer you to their customers? Yeah, and we hold that very, very seriously. Yeah, and whenever we see that it's in a red zone, we always want to gather feedback, because I don't think any business is perfect. I don't think any recipe is perfect. And today, if someone highlights that it's not good, then it's an area for us to look into and improve.
Okay. So how do you know when to update the recipe? Because someone maybe say it's too sweet. Then someone could be say it's just nice. So how do you then assess it from there?
I have a very simple approach. So every week is our meeting. We will randomly take a few cakes from the freezer, and then we will cut it, and then we will taste it, and then we'll say, is it dry or is it not dry? Is it correct or not? Like, because today you can put one recipe into production, it can taste completely different once it's out of the production. Yeah, because different people, different hands, different everything, So, and even like how long you cool the cake, all these matters. Yeah, so, yeah, and then like, for example, let's say if we taste and we won't even want to give to our friends. So for me, right, is today, which thing in the menu will I want to give to my friends? Which thing in the menu I'm proud of? Today when I eat, do I like it? If I don't like it, and even I don't want to eat it, and even if I want to scrape the cream off, do you think my customers will buy? If the answer is no, then I should change it. Change until even I want to eat it every day.
But I guess the problem with that is that when you eat it so often every week, you have that bias. Wow, I'm sick and tired of eating this every week. So your lens are already clouded compared to someone like me. I don't eat it often, right? And I will have like a more accurate assessment. So what do you think of that biasness that would be inbuilt in the employees of the company there?
Okay. So for me, I still take a very objective approach every time when I do tastings. I will ignore that, I already know the taste of the cake or whatever. No, I will erase all of that, and I tell myself, okay, this is a new taste. This is a new day again. I'm going to try this cake and ask myself, do I like it or do I not like it? And when I like it or don't like it, right, it's not just my opinion, but it's that team of leaders of like 7 people on the table. Everybody taste it.
So is it done anonymously, so you all don't know like who said what, but you can total up the score? Or is it you say something, then the next person will say knowing what's your answer, and the third person will say knowing what's your answer?
Oh no, actually, we all just say it.
Okay. Wouldn't have like the advice, my boss say nice, I better say nice. If I say not nice, I'll be in trouble. Would have that
Okay, I think I don't have that effect on my team.
Okay.
Yeah, that like, wow, but May Ee say nice, then how don't have?
Okay.
Yeah, in fact, like for example, if I say not nice, you really? I think not nice.
Okay, that's good.
I think don't have that.
Okay.
Yeah. But if one day if there's that, then it's a warning letter to me.
Too fierce already.
Yeah.
So were there any times where you all like agree, this one needs to be improved on, then you all make the necessary changes to the recipe?
Always.
Okay.
Always. So I feel that our recipe is continually evolving. We're continually thinking about how can I store my cake better so that it doesn't dry out so fast. Is there something that needs to be improved in terms of the mixing or new technology that we can adopt so that the batter comes out consistently? Because if you ask any bakery, the honest opinion, no matter how large the scale is, right, there's still this problem of, because every time there's a new person that's touching the batter, the cake tastes different. I ask even factories in Singapore that are producing for like huge companies, we all face the same issue. Yeah, so no matter how we try to systemize things, there's this thing about baking that's the human touch that we are trying to eliminate. When I say eliminate, it's not that, wow, you eliminate already, then after that everything use machine, is it? Not true. But like maybe we remove the mundanity and then we allocate the manpower to things that are maybe a little bit more artistry so that they can continually grow, or like leadership positions. But things that unnecessarily need humans and then will change the quality better to use technology.
What's an example that you wish that humans can be replaced to make it more less subjective for the taste?
So like for example, for us now, the part about mixing the batter. There's still human touch.
So mixing means, can you walk me through the process of mixing the batter? What, you add the ingredients and just turn.
Okay, so like for example, you aerate the batter already. Okay, the batter has a lot of air, is the thing that's responsible for making the cake soft, you know. But because you undermix, the cake become lumpy. You overmix, the cakes become flat and thin, or the ingredients never mix properly inside. All these different things.
Aren't there like machines to do the turning thing for you, or it's usually human?
Yeah, but there are some steps within the entire mixing procedure, right, that requires the human touch to fold it.
Okay.
Yeah, because the mixer has limitation. Maybe it's too strong, the force, that will cause the batter to deflate. Yeah, so there's still this human touch lah.
I see.
That
Okay.
cannot be replaced with machine as yet. Or how do we smartly design something that will be very similar to a hand? You know, that kind of thing? Yeah.
So does that fall on your responsibility, or you have like someone on the team helping you brainstorm the so-called solutions?
Yeah, so for such things, right, I'm still the person that's driving these initiatives. And then maybe there is one person in charge to work together with me on this. Yeah.
Okay. So we'd love to hear, what is one maybe misconception that people have about the business that you run?
What is one misconception? Okay, in what angle?
Or maybe a certain myth that is not true. Like, I don't know, every time workplace, like only like certain things the insiders will know, where the outsiders will know, or the outsiders will mistaken it for it to be true, but it's actually not true. Or for it to be not true, but it's actually true, that kind of thing.
Okay, there's one thing that's very dear to my heart that I hope more people will know. In terms of product lah, in terms of product. So where we do customized cakes, right? So the cakes are coated with like a heavier cream called buttercream. It's made with more fat.
So what are the different types of cream out there, so there's some context here?
Okay, so there is like chantilly cream. Chantilly cream are the cream that you see more in chain stores, like Four Leaves, in Bread Talk, in...
More commercially used lah, chantilly cream.
Yes, correct, chantilly cream, because it's lighter on the palate, you know, it's there's more liquid content. So cakes can afford to be softer when people use chantilly cream.
Okay.
But people often compare customized cake to the cakes that you see in the chain stores. And then they will say, wow, customized cake so hard. You know? Wow, you cut only, it will crack. Or it's like, you know, very solid.
When they say customized cake is hard, which part are they referring to? What the cake?
Probably the cream outside. That, you know, butter, right? Because the cream takes the properties of butter. Butter, when you put in the fridge, becomes hard.
Yes.
Correct? Then when you take out, it becomes soft. So which is why most customized cakes, they will write this thing, which is try to take out about 1 hour before celebration so that the cake will taste soft and moist. Because the cake needs to be of a certain density, the cream needs to be of a certain fat percentage before it can hold up with the colouring, the fondant and all of that. But if you try to put fondant on top of whipped cream, or like the cream that you see outside, the fondant will melt. Yeah, and those cakes cannot hold colouring. The colouring will bleed into the cream, you know, and then it will smudge.
Okay.
Yeah, so there is a limitation to the mediums that we can use in terms of designing a cake lah. Yeah, so and that's something that I feel it's like a very big pain point in my industry. That I hope that we are constantly looking for solutions. Like how can we make the cake less creamy? How can we not use buttercream but still achieve the same effect? Yeah, and I think that if we can do that, more people will want to get customized cakes rather than, like, you know, customized cakes, nice to see, not nice to eat. Although we try to, you know, establish that delicate balance that, you know, like, yes, the outside have colour, but then inside it still tastes soft, it still tastes moist. Yeah, if you don't like the cream, just scrape it off. You know, so like for example, let's say today I attend your kid's birthday party. If I'm the one that's cutting the cake, I will scrape out all the cream and I'll just serve you the cake inside. Right? Because personally, I'm someone that don't eat buttercream one. So I won't serve it to my friends also. Something like that. Yeah, but it's not because buttercream is too sweet or it's unhealthy. In fact, we use the best butter. It's just that just Singapore palate, we just like light stuff. And then like buttercream is considered too heavy for our palate. But if we don't use buttercream, the cake will melt. So structural, logical, or like, do we want to choose taste? There's always this fine, delicate balance that our industry needs to solve.
I see. So the ideal, let's say you have a magic wand that could fix this particular problem. What would that one? What would the ideal solution be like?
To find a cream that's easily whipped up, that is a good decorating medium, tastes great, and at the same time, be able to hold up to all the figurines.
Okay. So when you say good decorating medium and hold up, means that it has to be hard already. It can't be too soft, right? If not, thing will just crumble, right?
Ideally, it's soft.
Okay, and still be able to hold up even though it's soft.
So we've tried to work with like different scientific institutes, but they also couldn't find a solution. No? Yeah.
How is it like working with a scientific institute? You give them a problem and then they try to find a solution for you?
Yes, so then they put it through lab tests. They will come up with different cream and all of that, but no, it didn't work.
Alright, so this is kind of like still a work in progress.
It's still a work in progress.
Okay.
And I think this is a big problem to solve. Because if we solve this problem, it's not just within our company, but we're really solving like a problem in the world, right? Or at least in Asia, where people don't like to eat buttercream.
Maybe in US people like to eat buttercream?
Yeah, US people like to eat
You love it?
buttercream. Yes. So which is why, right, like there are a lot of bakeries in US that like doing very well. People love their cakes. But when Singaporeans we fly over, we didn't think that the cake is nice. Because different palate. But let's say if today we fly to Indonesia, we fly to Hong Kong, we go to their best bakeries, wow, it really does taste very good. Because taste and the palate is similar to Singapore.
I see. So what are some of the maybe expansions plans that you have for your business? Like I think from what I spoke with you previously, I know different verticals that you're trying. So anything you'd like to share?
Let me think. Okay, so we are going halal. And I feel that it will be an interesting market to explore. I feel that every time when I speak to our Muslim friends, they always tell me this, May, in Singapore there isn't a lot of halal options when it comes to customized cakes. So sometimes we will have to make do with either Muslim-owned bakeries or just ensure that the bakery that we are supporting has no pork or lard. But I feel that it doesn't have to be this way. That we hope to design build a company where it's inclusive. So where our Muslim friends also have options when it comes to good quality customized cakes. Companies have one-stop places that they can order from that are halal, and then if they have employees that are have allergen-free requirements, that there is also that option. So which is why I said that my experience in building recipes in terms of the different ratios helped very much, because now we are trying to build a gluten-free recipe. Gluten-free, egg-free, dairy-free. Wow, it's like taking out the most delicious things in the recipe and then expect the cake to still taste good. To me, that is a very big challenge that I am attempting now lah. Yeah.
Will the cake be free?
Oh!
So I just had to say that.
It'll be free for you.
So yeah, I agree with the halal because I have kids in childcare, and we need to buy halal cakes for the other kids, Muslim kids. We have problem finding cake shops who does that. I mean, besides the few commercially available ones, when we want something a little bit more customizing, my wife, she was struggling to say there just isn't that many out there to choose from. So I can see where you're coming from, where the halal markets are, I think, underserved as of right now. Yeah. So after speaking with you, I can see that you have a lot of passion and love for your business clearly. But what would you say is that one thing that you dislike about this business of yours?
do I dislike?
Or maybe the things that you're doing now that you dislike about it.
Okay, so earlier on I shared that I'm someone that's motivated by results. So in the recent times, when the market slows down, and then you realize that when you do something, and then it doesn't bring you the result that you want, then I feel I get demotivated. And I feel that that would be, if you ask me that what is something that I dislike working on. So it's not that I dislike my business or I dislike whatever, but I think I dislike the feeling of working on something, but then later after you do everything, you realize, wow, how come no result? Then you try again. Then you try. How come no result? Then after later, 1 year later, you try, and you ask, how come still no result? Then it hits you. Yeah, it makes you feel demotivated. Then you suddenly lose that motivation and drive that you have at the start. And for me, I think, and speaking to enough business owners, I realized actually every business goes through that same kind of stuck in a rut feeling, where like, you can try a lot of things, but it doesn't work. But you are one try away from the next exponential growth. Yeah, so just keep trying. So I have this friend who shared with me, because I was sharing with her about this pain of like, I try everything, but then still doesn't work, and I'm just so sick of waking up every day and then like, oh my god, why is this not showing results? And she said, but in business is like that, every day is a no, tomorrow is a present. Like, it's a present waiting for you to be to unwrap. And you don't know what tomorrow will bring. And she said that is what that keeps her going. And I think that really inspired me. Like, yeah, today, whatever I tried might not work yet. But if you continue to try, you continue to keep curiosity, then you never know what tomorrow will bring.
Are there times where, because there are times where it's better to give up and not continue trying, maybe because it's unlikely to work. So has there been instances where you realize that it's better to give up and not just keep banging your head against the wall?
I think unknowingly I've been doing that when I was young. Like, for example, the makeup artist career. Why didn't I persist? Because I felt that was not for me. But actually my parents thought that I'm someone that, you are 100 or 0 person now. Once you don't want, you immediately cut off. So but for me, I think intuitively I always have that in me. When I know that that's not gonna work out, then I will be like, oh, okay, wait, this is not working out. Then I'll stop doing it. But I feel like, as of now, at least I feel that there's a difference between, am I demotivated and not doing my best, and it's really not showing results, or is really not showing results and I should cut.
Okay.
And one common thing that I'm inspired by how other people think about this is they set a timeline. If after like 3 years you invest this amount but it's only returning you this results, and you know that you gave in your best already, then you know it's time to cut. But for me now, I feel like working on my verticals, I'm at a stage where I feel like I haven't given my best. I haven't been fully curious. And I want to be.
So do you give yourself a timeline like 3 years you mentioned previously for?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Probably.
So 3 years is like a fair timeline for yourself?
I would think so, for a lot of things in business.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think I constantly remind myself, right, like for the brand at Bob, how long did it take to build to wherever it is now? 8 years. So today, if I want to build something new, or if I want to acquire a new skill, I don't want to underestimate the amount of hard work it will take to build that thing up. And I need to practice patience.
I love what you just said. I totally resonate with it. I think there's this saying, I don't know if it's from this guy called Naval Ravikant, something along the lines of, if you do easy things today, your future is going to be hard. But if you do hard things today, your future is going to be easy. I'm not sure who said that, right? But I thought that was something that pretty much sum up what you just mentioned. Yeah, I mean, nothing successful comes easy. There's a lot of trials and tribulations to get to where it is.
But we often don't see them.
Yeah, I think because once we kind of like achieve a certain level of success, right, then we are so used to that success. We want things fast, right? Because I really, got this certain level of success. Why is this taking so long? But I forgot the journey to that success wasn't overnight. It was like ups and downs and many years in between.
Wow, I can totally resonate with that because like now if you ask me, right, I honestly cannot, okay, we know that was our journey of ups and downs, right? But we forgot how painful it is.
Yes.
Because now it's like a lot more chill, right? Like, oh, we got it. Yeah.
Hey, don't say
No,
so
no,
loud.
just
People
kidding.
listening my life. People.
No, I'm not just saying that. Okay, not 8 a.m. 7 a.m. Okay, okay, but no, like yeah, really, we forgot the journey. But at the same time, I think recently I saw a post somewhere that like I really resonate with, which is like work. Okay, I cannot remember the exact words, but it's kind of like, for 3 years, right? Work your ass off like nobody would, so that for the next, I don't know how many years, you can live like nobody ever can. Yeah.
This reminds me of, as you know, Max was on the podcast just a few episodes before. So he said something also very interesting. You know, the FIRE movement, the what? Financial independence, retirement early. So I think it's one of the craze right now among, I think Singapore, at least Singaporeans. So to achieve the FIRE movement, you need certain attributes, right? You cannot be, chill, lazy, lam nua. You have to be pretty hardworking, driven, and disciplined to achieve that movement. Then he was also sharing that if you think about this, right, it's actually quite contradicting because if you have those skill set, right, and you achieve your FIRE movement, once you have it, do you think that skill set is just going to go away and make you feel chill and do nothing for the rest of your life? No, you probably still want to do something because that attribute is really in you. So that reminded me like that even though people could maybe just retire and enjoy it, they will still need to do something with their life, right? Because that whatever attributes that got them the success, right, is going to be with them, and they do nothing, they feel there's this disconnection over there.
Yeah, I totally agree. But I think that that fire that you're talking about, I think what it buys that person is the choice and security that I no longer need to fear whether I have enough or not, but I know that I have a choice to what I want to do today. Like I can today, if I choose to work 16 hours versus today I have to work 16 hours, I feel very different.
The options, the option there.
And I feel like whatever that we today as entrepreneurs we are working towards is freedom and choice, not money.
So at least that's the case for you, where you actually.
Sorry.
No worries. You're actually more pursuing more towards the freedom, the purpose and fulfillment rather than just trying to increase revenue for the sake of increasing revenue.
Yes, correct. To me, freedom in life is very, very important. And I think I learned it when I was in poly doing my internship, where I had to go to work at 8 a.m. and leave at 5 p.m. I feel like someone was controlling my time. Yeah. And I didn't like that. But it differs, right, from people to people. Some people like it. They like structure in their life.
And maybe you can share, last business question, right? Promise. I know you've been talking for quite a while. And if you all hear May coughing because, she's having cough and she still decided to do this, right? So clap, right? Wherever you are, right? To show her support. Yeah. So what's one trend that you're seeing in your space right now, doing customized cake?
Sorry. Wow, this is a difficult question. What's one trend?
I don't know, like nowadays, like the AI technology, people, doing, maybe Web3 metaverse. So I'm not sure in your space, is there any certain trends that you're seeing? Maybe people using robots to make certain cakes.
Yeah, let me think. In the F&B industry, there are people that are using 3D printing and robots to fry like char kway teow, make coffee.
I see the coffee vending machine one, yeah.
Yeah, correct. But I'm not sure for the scale of Singapore, the upfront cost, does it make sense? Yeah.
Curious, what's your take on those? I've never tried those robot coffee machine. Have you?
I have not also.
Okay.
I have not also. But I think Singapore is actively promoting using technology by giving grants because they know that upfront cost don't make sense. So then they will give that upfront cost by covering with grant so that it will make sense. Because Singapore market is too small to...
Our domestic consumption.
Yeah, for us to want to automate. Yeah.
And correct. Prices has to make sense. I think I saw maybe at airport selling this robot coffee. The price is like $7 or $8. Like, come on, I'd rather hire a real barista next door and pay $7 or $8 than a robot who I'm not even sure whether spend that kind of money to get the kind of coffee which may or may not be good. So, but the concept was very interesting, the robot making the coffee.
Yeah, correct. So that's that. And then I think not just our industry, right? But I think in general, what I also see and I'm trying to understand a bit more is how people are using AI in customer service. Yeah. It's also hitting our industry, right? Because we use a lot of customer service, and customer service is super important to us also.
And it's all human, right?
Yeah, it's all human.
Okay.
But then there are repetitive questions. So it's not to say to completely use AI to replace humans, but how can human touch be used in the most personalized and efficient way? It's the best use of their time. These people, they're very, very good at customer service, right? So how can we best use their time rather than to fire frequently asked questions when the AI can do it?
Yeah.
So that instead of today, someone takes 1 hour to reply you, we can take 1 minute to reply you. Oh, that'd be fabulous, right? Yeah, and that's gold standard that we aim to have lah.
And one thing I love about your business is that your replies are all very fast. Was there any KPI that you set for your staff? Because they reply super fast.
1 hour.
1 hour, there you have it.
Yeah, 1 hour.
So you're trying to do 1 minute now, is
problems,
it now?
15 minutes. Yeah, but I hope that with AI, we can reduce it to 15 minutes, 1 minute. Wow, that's even better. Right?
Yeah, and I think that's a very important aspect for maybe F&B businesses. Like my wife, whenever she buys stuff, right, sometimes the product can be really good, but if the customer service take damn long to reply, right, she will bring her business. I mean, she will do business with some other vendors already, even though that vendor may not have the better product, but because they're fast, they're prompt, they're service oriented, she'd rather just give them their money rather than someone who might be good but just damn slow to reply.
Yeah.
So nowadays, I think Singaporeans, we are quite one instant gratification. 24 hours, I think, is too long of a lead time already. Probably going to be like, I don't know, for you it's 1 hour, which is amazing.
Yeah, but I totally agree. Like, so for example, today if I want to buy something, right, I want instantaneous reply also. So why would I not expect that my customers will also want instantaneous reply from us? Because today I want to buy a cake. Immediately I want to know what is it so I can settle immediately. Today there's a problem with my cake. I don't want to wait until tomorrow when your stuff come back, then you can't handle the problem. I want to know exactly where is my cake now. How can you handle the situation at hand now? And without a proper, robust customer service team, we will not be able to handle the expectations of the customers.
So for you, do your customer hours, is it like fixed 9 to 6 or you all run 24 hours round the clock?
Not 24 hours, but because I realized by working on the ground then, right, I realized that customer service, the tickets drop after 12 a.m. People are sleeping.
Okay.
So our customer service runs until 12 a.m.
So it's like
8 to 12.
18 hours a day. 8 to
about that.
12. Okay.
18/7. Yeah.
Okay, so you must have the sweet spot timing be there available for the customers.
Yes, correct.
Awesome. Okay. Come, let's move on to the closing section. I mean, yeah. So what is the kindest thing, right, that you can recall that someone has done for you?
Actually, this question, someone asked me before. And my answer will always be the same, which is today, right, there are many, many business owners around us that have climbed greater mountains than us. But today, if you see a business owner that is not there yet, maybe not anywhere near you, but did you lend a helping hand to them and then not judge them whenever they are making like wrong decisions because they didn't know better? And I feel like at that point in time when I first started, there were a lot of people that gave me that helping hand. They were very willing to mentor me. They were very willing to share with me, whether it's by products or just business strategies. I had a lot of guardian angels in my life that helped me. And I feel to me, right, business-wise, that was the kindest thing anybody did for me, rather than like, actually you're such a small business and you're not worth my time. No, there were many people that made me feel that when I talked to them, I was the center of their universe at that point of time when I was sharing with them deeply my problems. Yeah.
Yeah, also one thing to add is that I think people who have achieved certain business level of success, once they have certain level of money, the next thing is the fulfillment, the purpose, which you've mentioned earlier. It's not just the money, but the fulfillment and purpose. And I think that when they mentor someone who was once in their shoes, they would get that sense of fulfillment and purpose, right? So it meets that needs of theirs. So I think for those of you listening who wants to get help, I think we should not shy away from it. You should actually actively reach out. The most is just a no, but if it's a yes, then that could be a life changing. Yeah.
Yeah, I never understood that, but yeah, I finally did lor. So like recently there was a friend who asked me this. He said, why would anybody, I said, hey, actually there was one thing that really helped me in my business journey to shortcut any success or to, shortcut any failures, right, was getting mentors that were good in that subject. Then after later he shared, he asked me, but why would anybody want to mentor me and share their secrets with me? And I said that exact same thing that you said, because I feel like there are a lot of people out there, right, that have been through a lot of hard knocks, and they hope that when they share their experience with another person, that person won't have to go through that journey that they did, because they know exactly how it feels like and they want to help that someone. And inherently, I feel a lot of people, we are actually kind, and of course we seek fulfillment.
I think also one thing to add, like say if I were to mentor somebody, what I want to see is that they actually take action, not just yes, they never do anything. Then after a while, you don't feel like mentoring the person, because it's just listening 1 year in, 1 year out, and then not doing anything. So I guess for that relationship to work for both sides, the mentee has to take action and either do what the mentor says, or at least take some action where the mentor can see the person's actually not just sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah, so it's like when we mentor someone or when we are mentored, I think the relationship between the mentor and mentee is, I see myself in you. And because I see myself in you, I saw how hard I fought when I was at that stage. So I want to help you. But if you are not helping yourself, it means that I no longer see myself in you.
Exactly, well
right?
said, yes. Precisely, yeah. That's a good one. Yeah. Curious, I know you read books, okay, so this is going to be relevant for you. So you're in the library, right, and the library is burning down, okay, and you can only save 2 books from the library. Which 2 books will that be?
小了, cause I no longer read books.
Okay.
Yeah, so I cannot remember, man.
We can pass this on.
Yeah, okay, but maybe there is one concept that recently that I really hold on very dearly to recently. Okay, and it's also written in a book, right? Which is it Infinite? What? Infinite don't know what, by Simon Sinek, where it talks about this concept about, I've read that book, I think about 2-3 years back, but recently that concept hit me again because I like to watch his motivational videos, right? It's about life is an infinite game. That you are only out of the game if you stop playing the game. Yeah, and there is no winners, there's no losers. And by looking at life, by looking at life with that lens, right, you just want to keep improving rather than, hey, today which competitor do I want to beat? And then it makes you in a very, very painful space when you keep thinking about, hey, I want to be the first in this. I want to be in SEO. I want to rank the first in this. I want to be the highest revenue. It makes you in a very bitter place. But if you think of life as, hey, it's an infinite game. I just need to look at myself, and my only competition is myself. I think that's a very liberating thing, and that's where we bring out the best versions of ourselves.
Thank you for sharing. I needed to hear that myself, because I think you probably know, since you're a very close friend of mine, that doing the trading YouTube views, right? For a moment I was like the number one channel, then you got taken over, and then now you kind of like start to have the fear of being irrelevant. You're always comparing myself to others, to other newer YouTube channels. So it can go into a depression mode if the thought is not handled properly. So I like what you said about, it's more of like comparing yourself with yourself, right? Not with others, right? And who knows, maybe at come a point in time where, there's always evolution, like Rainer 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and now I can see an evolution where I would possibly maybe stop making videos or making less videos, right, and transit into something else, like for example doing this podcast, right? To me, that's an evolution, since I love talking to entrepreneurs, people with interesting stories. So yeah, it's always a never-ending growth, right? Instead of, trying to be number one. Because being number one is a very tiring mindset. You always feel, someone's at my tail and it's catching up to me, let me push forward further and further, and you can go into this, depression mode. And then what's the point of being number one? In the angle when you leave this world, right? Does that number one status, is it really so important? I think for most people, the answer is no. So got to get out of that game, that rat race, right? And to know that there's really a lot, right, life has to offer, not just, focusing on yourself and your competition. So that was what you said reminded me of myself, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the first few topics that we talked about when we first met like 2-3 years ago, right? So until now, right, whatever you shared, still inspires me a lot. Because for me, I'm like, wow, this guy, right, is so successful on YouTube, but he also has this side of him where he shares about how painful being number one is. That sometimes we look up to the people who are very number one in their space, but only to realize that if that mindset is not handled properly, number one is a very painful place to be in, and number one is arbitrary. Because number one on what? Right? Number one on happiness, number one on fulfillment, number one in count, revenue, what? Right? There's so many things to compare on, and today you're number one doesn't mean tomorrow you're number one. So I realized that there was no point in being number one, but rather today am I a better version of myself than yesterday? And I think that is more than enough.
Yeah, I think that's a way more healthier question to ask yourself.
Yeah.
I love that question. Awesome. And just one thing I asked Dave previously, but I'm curious to know as well. So I asked him this question, is that what is one thing that you bought, right, below $100, right, that has a significant, impact on your life, that item?
Oh, let me think. There are a lot of things, right? But, okay, if you were to say in terms of evolution, in terms of character, then I would say maybe it's my bag that costs under $100. Because I think at the start of my entrepreneurial journey, right, cash came in fast. So at that time, right, at 20 plus year old, when cash came in fast, I told myself, wow, actually I have the capacity and ability to make money. And then when you look at the Instagram, you look at social media, why everybody's carrying a branded bag, right? Then it's very easy to go into the loop of, wow, woman vain, want to carry pretty bag. Which girl don't like handbags? Every girl likes handbags. And every girl, when you see, wow, this brand has this new collection, then imagine yourself wearing it. Wow, I'll look prettier when I wear it. Then you think you want to buy it. Then every bag costs a few $1,000s, right? But I think a few years, 1 or 2 years ago, I snapped out of that loop. Thankfully, I haven't bought a lot of bags. Only bought one bag for each purpose. Okay, but then I snapped out of that loop. Tell myself, actually, it's not very important to have many different bags, because the bags, they just serve a specific purpose. It's not to show off a particular status or whatever. And so I feel that one of my proudest purchase is to realize that I don't need a branded bag to feel good about myself. And feeling good comes from within. Yeah, rather than the bag that I carry. And I'll be perfectly okay carrying a regular normal bag in a room of people who are carrying Chanel's. I'm totally okay. Yeah.
Nice. And before you go, where can the audience find or connect with you? I think, would you like them to find you, or what's your take on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, totally okay. So, I'm an somewhat active Instagram user. AMAYEEZINGG. So if you say that in English, it's amazing.
Okay,
It's my name inside. Amazing.
You can repeat the handle once again for those who didn't catch it earlier.
Yeah, AMAYEEZINGG. So if you're wondering why is there double G behind, because Instagram, the single G is taken.
That's very practical.
Yeah.
And what about Bob the Baker Boy? I think they just search Bob the Baker Boy and the IG is there, the website is there, pretty easy to find.
Yes,
right?
correct.
Okay, so thank you so much for your time, May. I love this conversation with you. Definitely a very inspiring one to see your growth, right? From a home baker to doing multiple 7 figures a year. Now, I think 8 figures coming soon. Super inspiring. And by the way, May is very young. She's very young. Let's not reveal her age, but she is very young. And someone so young accomplishing such huge feat is very, I would say, I know that I use the word inspiring a lot, but it really has inspired me. And to see your growth from someone, as I've said earlier, yes, cannot say no. Now that you can stand up on your own 2 feet and say no, but thankfully you still turn up for this podcast. Right? You didn't say no to this podcast, yeah? So thank you so much for it. I appreciate you and thank you for being on the show.
Because you can't say no to Rainer and you're equally inspiring to me. Yay!
Thank you, May. Thank you.